Mills. Today, you are going to learn from Steve, a man with great wealth of experience in the business world. This man has been in the business for the past 27 years. And Steve Mills will be sharing with us here from the studio, the United Kingdom, his experience, his obstacles, his success for the past 27 years. So today, we are going to be learning, and I want to encourage you to sit tight, have your pen and paper. Steve is a coach. He's been training in different countries. He has acquired great experience in the business world on the global stage. And today, with me is Steve Mills. We will be sharing his story, his journey to greatness, our success story today. Because in business world, there will always be obstacles, challenges, and also there will always be men and women who have triumphed in this phase. So tonight, or this evening, or this morning, or wherever you are watching me from, I remain your host, Philip Oladejo, the Executive Director of the Global Authors Club and Business Award UK. And just to let you know also, if you're based in the UK, United Kingdom, we have the LinkedIn Hangout and the Global Authors and Business Award Networking Evening on the 28th of October 2022 at the Holiday Inn, London, Holiday Inn, High Street, Kensington, London, United Kingdom. At the time will be 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. We have loads of things in the agenda for you. So we have speakers, great speakers. We have photography, we have video, we have music. It's going to be a combination of business and fun on the 28th of October 2022. And also on the 16th of December 2022, we have the Global Authors and the Business Awards ceremony in the UK. The details is on the screen. So back to the studio. Now, so in the next few minutes, I will be bringing my guest onto the stage. Right, so have a pen and paper ready to write and learn from the wealth of the experience of Steve Mills, a man who has done it, been there, and he has acquired great experience. And today we are going to learn about his model of business and all kind of challenges that he has faced in business and his journey to greatness. And I want you to sit tight and have a pen and paper. I am your host, Philip Oladejo, the founder and the director of the Global Authors Club in the UK. So it's going to be an excellent evening. And I want you to know that whatever stage your business is in, whether you are a coach, an author, a speaker, entrepreneur, and you having challenges in your business, today is a day where you learn from the experience of Steve Mills, a man who was formerly an English man who represented England at the table tennis some years ago. So he's been there, he has done it, he has the experience, and today his business is still going very strong. So we're going to learn from the experience of this great man. So, and I'm going to ask you, so if you're watching the broadcast just now, or if you are watching the replay, subscribe to this channel so you can be notified whenever we have new programs. Like and also comment, but let your comment be a great comment. We want to hear from you. If you have any idea for any part of the business that you are struggling with or that needs improvement, or you're thinking of diversification or growth, or any kind of support for your business, whether you are a coach, you're a speaker, you're an author or entrepreneur of any size, small, medium, large, and you will need a business strategist or business development manager to support your business, or coach, business coach. Click on these channels or drop us a message, and one of the team will respond to you. Again, if you are living in the UK and you would like to network with Great Mind on the 28th of October 2022, there is a venue where you can actually do that, which is the Holiday Inn, High Street, Kensington, in London, UK. And the day again, the 28th of October 2022. Okay, now let's bring let's bring that to the stage. Amazing, incredible, experienced Steve Mills. So welcome, Steve, to the show.
Welcome, Philip. I've got to say, that is the best introduction. You need to follow me around, introducing me wherever I go from now on. That was the best introduction ever. It's great to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I'm looking forward to sharing my experience and ideas with your guest today.
Wow, great. So listen, I know we've had a couple of times that we've had a discussion over Zoom. And every time we have that meeting, is always very inspiring. And I want you to just give a little bit of introduction of yourself so the audience know exactly who they are speaking with.
Okay, yeah, sure. Well, I've come through an interesting path. You know, when you've been in business, as you said, 27 years, there's ups and downs. And before that, as you also said, I played table tennis internationally. For over 10 years, I was a full-time player. And do you know, that in itself was some real challenges. I should have been a footballer or a tennis player and made loads and loads of money, but I played table tennis and it was tough. And I had to be good at not only playing table tennis, but also at selling and marketing myself and making enough money to keep going, you know, to be able to play full-time, which was a real challenge. But I managed to do that, and I got involved in marketing sometime after that, which I'll tell people about how I did that. But what I did really, I think the thing that makes me slightly unique is that I was never really talented, not like a mega talented sportsman. You know, I had talent without a doubt to get to that sort of level you've got to have, but I worked so hard at my craft. And when I got involved in the world of business and marketing, I think I took the same attitude, that determination to succeed, that will to win, into sales, into marketing, into growing my business. And I still do today with my clients and growing myself even, right to this day, 27 years later.
Wow. So what I was going to say is, you ventured into table tennis at the time. Was it a very attractive sport at the time? Compared to
No. Do you know, people often said to me, why table tennis? And the answer is because I was rubbish at football. I always, as a young man, in my teens, I always wanted to be a professional footballer. That's all I ever wanted to be, right from being 4, 5, 6 years old. But I had one slight problem with that. I was rubbish. I just wasn't very good. But I played table tennis for the first time and just got good really quick. You know, I played. I literally started playing when I was 13, and I took a day off when I was 18. I played every day. Christmas Day, holidays, you name it. I never, ever didn't play. I played every day, sometimes up to maybe 10 hours a day. Really, really working hard. But I got good. By the time I was 18, on my 18th birthday, I played against a guy called Kuo Yu Hua, who was the Chinese world champion. And that was on my 18th. So I'd only been playing 4 years, just over 4 years at the time. And I was playing, the world champion. And I got severely beaten. I got hammered, but what the heck, it was fantastic to be playing at that level.
Wow. So, which means that you were not carried away by what other peoples were doing. You found your strength. Because in business world, it's very, very important for people to find their strength, their weakness, the threat, and the opportunity. But you were not driven by what others are doing. You were attracted to the table tennis, which we know, this is where your strengths lie.
Yeah.
And you focus on that. Talk us through that.
I think in business, it's very easy to be, to try things, to try this, and if that doesn't work, you go and try something else, and if that doesn't work, you try something else, which is sometimes a good thing to do. But I do believe that one of the things that is often lacking with people is perseverance. That will. I remember when I first started off in business when I was about 6, something like that, and I got this opportunity. Well, my dad got the opportunity, actually, to buy a load of umbrellas. It's a really weird story, this, now, when I look back on it now. To buy and we bought like 50 umbrellas, these umbrellas, the ones that pop up. And the idea was that me and my dad, were going to try to sell them. And we really struggled. We were going to sell them to friends. We thought we'd make a little bit of money, but we didn't really. And I discovered something that I learned then, and I still endorse now, and that is you've got to be selling in the right place. If, whether that's on LinkedIn or on Facebook or wherever, it's so important. And what I did, how I managed to sell all those umbrellas at 6 years old, is I went down into the town that I lived when it was raining. Okay, when it was raining, that was the only time I tried to sell them. I stood outside the shops, the supermarket, with an umbrella hanging up, telling people I've got umbrellas for sale, and I sold them all inside an hour. I sold them all. It was pouring with rain. People came out, bought an umbrella, and went to their car. And that for me was probably my first real good marketing lesson. At the age of 6. So and I just kept that. In table tennis, as I said, it was tough. It was difficult to make a living, and I had to be, I think, an entrepreneur even then. I used to sell coaching. I used to sell equipment. I'd sell tables. I'd try and make enough money to be able to win prize money. And I remember one particular time I was up in Durham, and things were tough then. I was about 18, 19, and I went to this tournament in Durham. I lived in Sheffield at the time, so it was about 150 miles, and I'd worked out that I had to get at least to the quarter final of this tournament to be able to have enough petrol to get home. So at the time things, now I look back and I think, wow, how my life has changed. I've been very privileged and very lucky to have achieved what I've achieved. But, I think it's, if you ask me what is the one thing that would be the thing that made me successful, it would be perseverance.
Wow. Well, I love what you said, perseverance, and I'll learn also sacrifice.
Yeah.
And the determination to succeed.
Sure. Yeah.
And the will to succeed. Do you know what? We're going to talk touch more on that, Steve, about that determination? Because you said you were so determined to say, you know what, I'm going to sell this. And I think requires life requires determination.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you to talk more about that, the will to succeed, perseverance, determination, which I feel that every business need to develop that skill. No matter how intelligent you are, if you don't have the will, the perseverance, because majority of people, we're going to talk about that now, majority of people in business expect to start business today and by tomorrow or next month or next year to start driving Ferrari.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Is that quite the case in business, that you, without perseverance and the will, can someone still succeed in business without that?
Do you know, I don't. I mean, they can if they're lucky. You know, if they're there at the right time. You know, don't we all wish we'd set up a business selling face masks? You know, 2 weeks before the coronavirus hit. You know, I'm sure you'd have done quite well if you'd have done that. You know, if you'd had the foresight to know that would be, or you know, you'd bought shares in Zoom. You know, just before COVID hit. You know, because Zoom just absolutely catapulted, you know, because of, you know, everybody started using it, you know, and so you can be lucky, I think, and just drop on the right thing at the right time. But for most of us, 99.9% of us, it's just about hard work, years and years of beating on your craft, you know. I always remember a very good friend of mine telling me that when you run a business, it's great because you only have to work half a day. I said, what do you mean, half a day? He said, no, it's true. You only have to work half a day. He said, not only that, but you get to pick which 12 hours those are. And that is so incredibly true. You know, you work hard. You know, I work in the evenings and weekends, and I still do. But I do it because I love it. I love doing what I do. If I won 50 million on the lottery tomorrow, I would carry on with my business. I wouldn't do everything, you know. I do the stuff that I love, like being interviewed and speaking on stage and stuff like that. You know, I wouldn't do all the admin stuff I have to do, but you know, that I think is. You know, definitely a really important thing. I always remember, you know, one of the people that I've listened to, I think a lot of the listeners today will know of, is Tony Robbins. And I remember Tony saying that the secret of success is is basically to just keep going. One of his sayings is, there's always a way if you're committed. And that's something I tell people all the time. There's always a way if you're committed. You can do almost anything if you're 100% committed to it.
Wow. Thank you, Steve. So let's just go back. I'm writing it down because I like every single point. And if you are a business owner, you are a speaker, coach, author, entrepreneur, whatever you are, what Steve's actually saying is key. These are the key to succeed in business: perseverance, commitment, hard work, the will to do something. So, Steve, tell us, how has the 27 years been? How has that 27 years been? This is a big, huge.
It's been
27 years in the game. How has that been?
Philip, it's been a long time. But seriously, you know, it's not been all singing, all dancing. You know, it's not been all wonderful. You know, we've come through major things, you know, the crash in 2008, COVID, you know, when COVID hit, I lost 40% of my business on day one. One day, everybody they said, right, there's going to be a lockdown, and everybody just, you know, 40% of my business disappeared. Luckily, that was it. I didn't lose any more clients. So I kept working, kept going, and I kept really marketing hard. So it's definitely had its ups and downs. It's been fascinating. I've done some really amazing things, met some unbelievable people. I've spoken, in Australia and New Zealand and Singapore, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, and that I love. It's great. As I often say, it beats Basingstoke. It's really interesting places to go, and I've written 4 books on marketing as well, and so I've done a lot, and it's been really, really good. But do you know what? The best thing about it is when I hear some of the stories of how I've made massive improvements in people's business. I just got one story I thought I'd tell you actually, which sort of demonstrates in a way my expertise. I was working with this company. They're a Spanish company, had just come to the UK, and they were selling this big recycling product that was bought by local authorities, and what it did basically was recycle all paper and cardboard into different things. You imagine like a big conveyor belt type thing. Now this equipment cost £2.5 million. Right, so if a local authority want to buy it, but it saved them about 40% on their recycling costs. So it was an unusual industry for me. I've never really worked in that industry. But this company have been advertising on the back of a magazine. They've been spending £2,000 per month advertising, and they've been doing it for 12 months. They then met me, and I said, look, this is not working. You've spent 12 grand and you've got no leads at all. You've got to either stop this advertising or let's think about changing it. Now, their headline was the name of the company. Right, the name of the company. They said, why? I said, why you got the name of the company there? Are you well known? No. They said, we're not well known at all. We want to improve our brand. We want to get known. So I said, well, do you want to get known or do you want to win business? Oh, we want to win business. So I said, right, let's change the headline. It took me 10 minutes to figure it out. I changed the headline from the name of the company. I'll not tell you the name of the company because I don't want to embarrass the company. But I changed the name of the company to local authorities save 40% on recycling costs. The following month, they got 5 leads, 2 sales, and made £5 million. I should have been on commission. It took me 10 minutes to figure that out. They made £5 million. And that's the power of marketing, the power of testing different things. And that's, I think, a good example of the type of leverage that I can bring to people.
Wow. Thank you so much, Steve. I love that testimonies, and that's kind of things that I love to hear, that how a strategy or impact or a consultation has resulted into a tangible result. You come across people that ask you to spend money and you can't really figure out what you're spending money on. You can't really prove that tangible return on investment.
Yeah.
And I know that has come from your experience, expertise, perseverance, commitment, and the will to succeed.
Yeah.
And I think that we learn so much by being committed, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it comes back to, when I used to play table tennis, I had various elements to my game. I had my backhand, my forehand, my footwork, my fitness, my timing, my speed, my power, all different things that you have to work on to get the edge. The difference often in sport between winning and losing is not very much. The guy, when Usain Bolt, won his gold medals, he did it in something like 9.7 seconds. The guy who finished fourth was like 0.3 of a second behind him. You know, it was like it's like, you know, it's just such a small amount, and yet that guy gets to remember he was at the Olympics. Usain Bolt gets gold medal, Nike contract, multi-millionaire, known all over the world, you know, and all the fame and everything that he gets because he's like 0.3 of a second faster. And that's the same in table tennis, and it was also, I believe, the same in business. The difference between getting the £50,000 order or as a coach, let's say, you know, winning that new client who may be worth, I don't know, £1,000 a month or something like that, and not getting it because they go with a different coach is not very much. It's just having the edge. It's having that little bit better website, that little bit better profile on LinkedIn, being a little bit more welcoming or you know, a bit better at selling in that sales meeting that you have with people. So it's for me, the difference between winning and losing in business is about the results that you get and being constantly and never-endingly focused on improving your results. Wow. You know, so for people doing things like go and have a look at your, you know, if you're in business and you're listening to me now, go and have a look at your website. Not now, but afterwards. Go and have a look at your website and go, how can I improve that? Can I improve the headline, the pictures, the words, the call to action, the testimonials? These are all things that make a difference to whether your website's successful or not, because most websites aren't successful. You know, most people don't win any business from their website because they're not done very well. Most marketing doesn't work. That's a real weird thing for me to say, but it's true. But that doesn't mean it couldn't work. I think when we were talking before, Philip, I mentioned to you about the guy who'd told me that Google AdWords was a waste of time. It didn't work. And I said to him, well, what have you done? What have you tried? He said, well, I spent £10 on it. I did it for a day. So it spent a tenner, and all of a sudden this multi-billion-pound industry called Google advertising, you know, doesn't work. You know, and you know, that's a real good example, I think, where, you know, we've got somebody who wants to, you know, grow his business, but he's just not committed. You know, you got to commit. You know, I hear people on LinkedIn telling me, "Oh yeah, I'm on LinkedIn." I say, "All right, what do you do? What's your strategy?" Well, I post on there twice a month, and I'll go, well, you know, that's like going to the gym twice a month. You know, you ain't going to build that muscle, you know, going to the gym twice a month. You're not going to build your LinkedIn muscle. You need to be there every day, beating on your craft. You know, I post on LinkedIn between probably 10 and 15 times a day. Every day. And the same on Facebook, and the same on Instagram and Twitter. You know, and, you know, most people don't. Most people, you know, I hear people often, they'll tell me, well, yeah, we do email marketing, Steve. And I say, all right, what do you do? Oh, we send out a quarterly newsletter. You know, it's like, give me a break. Quarterly news. That's like me. I have to say, it's like me going, you know, if I'm a married man now, but if I wasn't and I decided, do you know what, I'm going to find a young lady to marry. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk out into the street. I'm going to go up to as many women as I can and go, oh, hi, my name's Steve. Would you marry me? They're just not going to do that. But you know, if I do it once a quarter, I've got like no chance. So I need to do, if that's my strategy, which is a bad one, I know that, but I need to do it often. You know, if I did it often enough, I think sooner or later I'd probably meet somebody who was daft enough or mad enough to say, yeah. You know, it's like me going out, just walking up the street going, would you like to buy my marketing service? People go, no. and I go to the next one and the next one and the next one,
Yeah.
and eventually
Yeah.
probably somebody would. But if I'm doing it once a quarter, you know,
No.
I'm not going to get anywhere. I'm not going to get anywhere.
Wow.
Sorry, I went on a bit of a rant there because you're feeling the passion here.
I absolutely love it, Steve.
Good.
I love the discussion. It's about commitment.
It is.
Commitment,
Yeah.
perseverance. And there was something you said, Phil, which when you commit to something, it will get to a stage that your commitment will begin to drive the result that you want.
Let me just tell.
Life,
Yeah. Let me just tell you this story. This is a true story. Something happened to me years ago. One of the things when I played table tennis, I was very lucky to meet sports people in other sports. One such occasion, I met Ivan Lendl. Do you remember Lendl, the tennis player? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, at the time, Lendl was number one in the world. He'd been number one for, I think it was something like 200 consecutive weeks. So he'd like four years, something like that. And I said to him, Ivan, how did you manage to get to be the best in the world? You know, was it your forehand? What was it? And he said, he was always a very serious guy. And he looked at me and he said, no, there's one thing. He said, every day since I was 8 years old, I did far more than anybody else could possibly expect. He said, I didn't compete with other people. I competed with the best I could possibly be. And that, I remember, I'm talking now 40 years ago, I remember each and every word of that because it really hit home. And, you know, it is so incredibly powerful that if you could do that in your business, do far more than anybody else could possibly expect, do you think you might do quite well? I'm sure we all could.
Well, Steve, I listen. I hope if you're a business owner, you are whatever you are, wherever you are, it's the same principle. Commitment. You have to do it regularly on a daily basis, every single time. If you cannot, majority of people want the magic. Nothing will happen if you are even into life. If you want to have a successful life, if you see successful people and ask them, which Steve is one of those successful people. So it's about commitment, perseverance. Now to lay your hand on one of these trophies, you've got to be committed to your goals, be committed to your life, be committed. Those are kind of things. These are part of things I say in my training when I do my transformational coaching, because majority of people, I'm baffled, they expect miracles, they will expect things to happen, and with a minimum, there's no even commitment to it. So if you are going to succeed as a business owner, as a speaker, entrepreneurs, content writers, social media managers, it's about consistency. Do it every day. You know, Steve, there was a time I was actually studying a particular footballer, which majority of people love. His name is Cristiano Ronaldo. And Ronaldo, when I look at the clips, majority of people want to become like Ronaldo. You know, Ronaldo, he's a football player, he's doing well. But if you look at how many times a week he was doing his training, he was committed to it. The speed
more than anybody else, probably practice more than anybody else.
Exactly. And there was something I learned in sales years ago when I was doing a guy called Roy trained me on sales, and this is what he says. He said, see more people.
Yeah.
Do it regularly. See more, commit yourself to what you're doing.
It's something I go on and on to people about, you know. Pick up the phone. Pick up the phone. It'll make you money. You know, and people go, oh, I don't like cold calling. You're not cold calling. You're lukewarm calling. You're calling people that know you. But the bottom line is one of another big mistake that people make in business. They don't speak to enough people. They're not getting it. I mean, we were talking about the networking event on the 28th. What a great opportunity to come and get in front of people and meet them. That's far more powerful than sending sending out an email. An email's one thing, but the key for me is when I send out an email to my 10,000 database, I normally get about a 20 to 30% open rate on that. And then out of those, I'll get about a 20% people who click on a link and go to my website. I then phone those people up and convert them into business, because they've read my email, they've then clicked on a link, gone to my website, and with technology these days, I know exactly who those people are. And it's really weird, actually. I phone them up and I go, "Oh, hi, Steve Mills here. I noticed that you just read one of my articles on my website." They go, "How do you know? Are you spying on me?" So, no. It's my system, my email system has just told me that you've opened and clicked and gone through to my website. Because there's another important message here: speed stuns. Speed stuns. If you do things quickly, people. It's like, have you ever left a message with somebody, or you've applied for something? A couple of years ago, I was thinking of buying a Mercedes, right? And I phoned the Mercedes dealer. They didn't answer the phone. They went to an answer phone. I was told to leave a message, so I left a message. 5 days later, they had not called me.
Wow.
5 days. I want to buy a car. It's like I think it was like a £40,000 order, and they couldn't be bleeped bothered to call me. That's crazy.
Wow.
Isn't it?
Wow.
But I think nearly everybody's got a story like that. Certainly when I speak to people. Another important point I'd like to make as well. A little while ago, and I'm talking pre-COVID actually, I was speaking at an event up in Birmingham. There's 1,000 people in the room, and I said, hands up, who's responsible for sales in their business? And I got virtually 1,000 hands. And I said, okay, that's great. Hands up, who's done any sales training at all in the last 12 months? And I got about 40 hands.
Wow.
I said, the rest of you. I said, would you really employ somebody in your business who, as a salesperson, who couldn't be bothered getting themselves some sales training? Wow. I said, I'd sack yourself if I was you. Wow. I said, I train myself every day. Wow. I call my car a university on wheels, because whenever I'm in it, I'm learning. I used to be listening to cassettes. Yes, I am that old. Then CDs, and now podcasts and online stuff. And it's just so incredibly powerful. We can buy a book now. By somebody who's spent 40 years learning something. They provide some great ideas, and we can get that for like £10. And yet I see most business books that are bought are never read. Most people have this thing I call shelf development instead of self-development. They've got a nice shiny bookcase with all the best books on it, but they've never read them. There's a couple of lessons there for people, I think.
Wow, thank you so much, Steve. I'm actually enjoyed. I've learned so much, and I know that our viewers are learning as well.
That's good to hear.
Yeah. So now I want to just ask you, Steve, in all this journey, because you are a man with massive experience, wealth of experience. Now, what has been the challenges in your journey? What has been the challenges Because I know that so many people, business owners, who are facing challenges, and they are quitting, or they are thinking of quitting their business because they think it's not working. What has been the challenges, and how did you overcome those challenges in your journey?
I think one of the biggest challenges I've faced is getting people to believe I can do what I can do.
Wow.
And I think that's the case with anybody who's a coach, a consultant, an advisor, those types of people. You know, there are so many of them around. There's so many people out there that will tell you, you know, work with me and I'll make you, you know, incredibly successful. You'll do this, you'll save all this money, or you'll make all this money, or you'll lose a load of weight, or whatever it is the person does. And being able to articulate that and persuade people that you can do what you say you can do, I think is a difficult skill to master. And it comes back, I think, to congruency. To, you know, I'll give you an example. Somebody comes to me and they say, look, I'm a great business coach. I'm brilliant at it. I've been doing it for many, many years. And I think, oh, right, okay, that sounds good. You know, and perhaps I'm at a networking event. And what do? I ask them for their business card. And sometimes they tell me, well, I don't have one. I just think, you know, come on. And if they have got one, they give me one. And it's like one of those cheap, tacky, you know, rubbish cards. And I take it and I think, you know, what they say and how they're starting to look is let me just tell you something about you when I first met you. When I first saw you and met you, I thought, this guy always looks really sharp, really smart. You know, you're like, no, I'm not saying it's true. This is absolutely true. My first impression of you was like, this guy's a really smart, switched on person. And that was because of not only what you said and how you said it, but also how you looked. And that's such an important thing. You know, somebody comes up to you and, you know, if they don't look how they're saying they are, and I know there are lots of exceptions. You know, if you meet Richard Branson out in the street, you know, he'd probably have a, you know, battered old T-shirt on and wouldn't look like a multi-billionaire sort of thing. I accept that. But I do believe people perceive people based on how they look. So I get this card, and then I go to the person's website, and their website looks like they're, you know, two men and a dog working out of their bedroom. You know, their website, again, doesn't give me the impression that this guy's a world-class coach, which he's told me he is. So it's making sure, I think, in answer to your question, one of the biggest problems is one of the biggest problems, actually, do you know what? It's marketing.
Wow.
In fact, it's more than that. It's making enough sales. Everybody listening today would be highly successful if they were better at selling. If they could sell more stuff, whatever that bit is, whether that's coaching, advice, or whatever it is they do, if they could sell more, in other words, they could create more leads and they could convert more of those leads into business, they could become far more successful. And it's as simple as that, I think. That's the biggest reason for business failure. And we were talking before we started today, saying that, you know, 80% of businesses that start today go bust within 5 years. And of the remaining 20%, 90% of those go bust in the next 5. So if the first 5 don't get you, the second 5 will. Why is that? It's because people are not good enough at selling and marketing what they do, I believe. And I know accountants will tell you it's because, poor handling of the money. But if you make enough sales, you can afford to employ a full-time accountant if you need one, but if you don't, you can't. And so that's I suppose my number one piece of advice to everybody listening is become better at selling and marketing.
Right. So I like what you said. So selling and marketing, which means selling the image, because I think first impression matters.
Yeah,
isn't it?
absolutely, it does.
The first thing I remember, one of the things I learned in those days when I was doing sales, I'm just to do sales now, and I'm going to do more of that now. Is people buy from people.
Yeah.
People see you first.
People,
yes.
Yeah.
And that first impression is number one.
Yes.
And then being able to match that image with what you've said. So matching, the first thing people see is your image, your brand, the first impression, and then go on to use that to replicate that in your businesses, in your services, in your products, even in your the way you speak as well. Because people good, and Les Brown says something that the moment you open your mouth, the world knows who you are.
Yeah.
And I think that is part of marketing, sales and marketing.
It is.
Too.
It is.
Because the moment you open your mouth to speak and people are not getting the value, you lose that.
Yeah.
You lose that.
I agree. Yeah. And what you said a few minutes ago about getting people to like you, I often expand on that, saying getting people to know, like, and trust. Not only you, and that's really important that they know, like, and trust you, but they've then got to know, like, and trust your company, and know, like, and trust your product or your service. Someone might think Steve's a nice guy, but can he actually help? So they've got to like it starts with the person, I believe. They like the person, particularly, if you're meeting at a networking event. But then I've got, sometimes just a couple of minutes to get them from knowing me and thinking I seem okay, to liking and trusting. Enough to maybe have a meeting or to even buy my products and services.
Wow, that's great. Listen, if we you can connect with Steve Mills on his LinkedIn page, Steve Mills, and this man right here, this man has wealth of experience. He's done it. He's been there. He has achieved it. He has results to prove it. As I think Tony Robbins has said, results don't lie. Results don't lie. So the result is there. So I will advise you to connect with Steve. And also, we're going to talk about networking. So how do you think networking could help people in terms of their sales, marketing, their branding themselves, their goal orientation? Because when you meet people, it takes meeting one person one day, just one person, to take you to where you need to be. So
sure.
What's the importance of networking, Steve? Okay,
great. Yeah, really good question. Thank you. Networking's a great opportunity without any shadow of a doubt. The more people you can meet, whether that's networking or in life generally, your network of people. The more people you meet, the more people you'll speak to, the more business you'll do, the more money will end up in your pocket. However, again, not everybody's great at this. Some people don't like doing it. They go, well, I don't really like it, and or some people, when they get there, they'll go and talk to anybody who's happens to be around. They don't have a system for it. And my advice would be to have a system for networking, a process, so that starts with before I get there, which is what we were just saying a few minutes ago. How am I going to look? When I turn up there, will I have my nice business card with me? Will I have, the information that I need? What am I going to say when I get there? This is a big one. When you go to those networking events, I'm sure we've all been to them, where you have to do your 1 minute of fame. Where you stand up and go, "Hi, my name's Steve Mills. What I do is this, and if anybody wants to buy my stuff, then go to this website." Most people, when they do that, they don't do it very well. They don't do it very professionally, and that's an issue. Other things like when you go into a room, there's 200 people there. Who are you going to talk to? Well, the first thing I do is I go to the person on the door and have a look. I'll ask them for the list of people who are here. And then I'll ask them, I'll say, "These 3 people here I'd like to be introduced to. Could you possibly either point them out or ideally introduce me? Could you do that?" Because I don't want to talk to everybody there. I want to talk to the right people, the people who are the right market for me. It comes back to my umbrellas. I want to be in front of the right people, the people who don't want to get wet, or the people who are, who could be clients of mine. So I'd say, my number 1 piece of advice is prepare. And number 2 is have a really, really good introduction when somebody says, "What do you do?"
Wow.
That is so powerful. And I'm not going to share this now, but when I talk on the 28th, I'm one of the speakers on the 28th, I'm going to give you my script that makes me a small fortune in business, not only networking, but generally in life. And I'll give you the outline of it. Get to understand the 3 biggest problems that your market's got, your customers. What is their 3 biggest problems? And then when you get in front of them, you tell them that you solve those problems.
Right.
Okay? Now the third, and this is the biggest mistake that people make with networking, is this. And I'll bet this applies to you, Philip. I bet this has happened to you. You meet somebody at a networking event. You get on great with them. You spend whatever it is, 10 minutes talking to them, and then you excuse yourself and say, "Look, I'm here to network, so it's great to meet you. Let's exchange business cards. Let's keep in touch. Well, and speak. We'll speak soon." And then you go off and meet somebody else. And that's the last time you ever hear of that person. And what I'm saying here is people don't follow up. They don't follow up from networking events. The follow-up is crucial. That's where all the money is. I don't think I've ever been to a networking event and I've had a 10-minute conversation with somebody and they've said, "Yes, Steve, I'd like to work with you. Here's a load of money." It's never happened. It happens the following day when I phone them up and I say, "Hi, we met last night at the networking event, and I thought I'd just give you a call. Did you enjoy it?" "I did." And we have a bit of rapport, and then I try and get them into a meeting, be it on Zoom or a physical meeting, and then that's where business is done. Not actually at the networking event. People go away and go, "Well, very good, I didn't win any business." You didn't, because you didn't follow up. Follow up is key.
Wow, thank you so much, Steve, for that advice, and I love that. So I love follow-up because it's so important. When I'm going out for a networking event, I went to a networking event recently, I think about 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
And I left there with 10 leads.
Great.
And out of those 10 leads, 8 of them have become my client.
Wow, that's great conversion. Yeah.
Yeah, 8. Yes. And I think it's only 2 we friends, and I've just given them some offer. So 8 out of 10 became a client, and from that 8, I've generated an additional follow a referral fee. So, back to what you say about his presentation, understanding what your I think is about providing value, having the understanding of what people lack, what do they need, their needs.
Yeah.
Those three things that people need. When you can meet the people's needs, it will take you to your greatness.
Yes.
If you can, and that's life in general. If we can simply identify the target audience needs, what life requires. Now, for example, you went into table tennis because, as far as you're concerned, that was a need. That was a need. You found that need. There was a problem, and you provided a solution, because not many people were going into table tennis at that time. It doesn't look attractive. It doesn't look lucrative, but you venture into that, and that has taken you throughout this journey of 27 years.
Yeah.
And your commitment, perseverance, your will to succeed have become an ingredient into that. So thank you so much, Steve, for this information you have shared, and we've learned so much today. So as we come to the end of this, what would be your a piece of advice as we round off this section? What would be your advice to people who are struggling in business, or thinking things are not working, or they haven't done enough? What would be your advice?
I think there's two things really. If they're struggling, financially, I'd say first look at your costs. We can all save money. We can save 5%, 10%, something like that, maybe 20%. There's always things that we could cut back on. But ultimately, if you're really going to, be successful, you've got to, as I said a few minutes ago, become better at selling. You've got to become better at selling and marketing. And, really, there's three ways of becoming better at marketing. There's three keys. One is getting new customers. The second is increasing the average transaction value, the average amount of money each customer spends with you. And three is increasing the frequency of repurchase. So from a supermarket metaphor, I've got to get more people in the door of my supermarket. I've got to get them to fill their basket more, or fill it with more expensive products. And then I've got to get them to come back more often. And it's as simple as that, really. And I think from a business growth point of view, that really is ultimately the key to it. If you're struggling in business, become better at selling.
Right. Thank you so much for that piece of advice, Steve. So again, Steve can be contacted. I can find on his LinkedIn page. And on his, you're also on Facebook and Instagram, right?
Yeah. I'm all over it. YouTube channel, I've got like 400 and odd videos on there, so there's loads of great free advice on there. Or if you go to my website, is it okay to give the website?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. So if you go to steve-mills.com, that's MILLS. There's again loads of free advice on there, free tips. If anybody's interested in having a one-to-one meeting with me, just go on there, click one of the gold buttons, and you can gain access to my Calendly link and book a meeting with me. Be very happy to try and help you for free, no obligation, no hard sell. It's just part of what I do to demonstrate my expertise. So feel free to do that.
Thank you so much, Steve. So as we come to the end of this interview, you can connect with me also at the Philip Oladejo on my LinkedIn page, or check on the Global Authors Club and Business YouTube channel. Again, if you're looking for somewhere to network, we have a networking event which is on the 28th of October 2022 at the Holiday Inn High Street, London, and the details is right on the screen, which is the LinkedIn Hangout and Business Award Network on the 28th. And Steve Mills will be one of the speakers that is speaking on the
Looking forward to it.
So if you want to network, meet with myself and Steve, check on the LinkedIn page or my page, Philip Oladejo, or check on the Global Authors Club and a business award on LinkedIn as well. So all of you who are watching, those who are going to watch this broadcast, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate you. And next week, Saturday, the 22nd, I'll be interviewing Debbie Braham. So thank you so much for your time. Do have a good evening, night, or weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.